I would describe an empath as someone who is hypersensitive. There's so much misunderstanding around a child who's an empath growing up, but also for the child themselves, because you don't realize that what you're feeling, other people don't feel. Because I'm a big believer in the compound effect. It's the little things done consistently over time lead to massive results.
Welcome to PnP, the Partners in Positivity podcast, where
Aisling Burnett
and myself, Sarah Harty, warriors of EBP, SPP, DHBs, that's emotionally bulletproof, spiritually bulletproof, divine human beings, aim to wake up and shake up the nation through positivity, humour and shared wisdom.
Before we get stuck into another awesome episode, we just want to let you know that we have a donation page if you wish to support the podcast and help us to continue providing more amazing episodes for you. If you want to Google Partners in Positivity, you'll find our Buzzsprout site, and on there you can find a support button. You can click on that and support to your heart's content, whether it's a one-time donation or a monthly subscription. We really appreciate all the donations that we get. Thanks so much. Enjoy the episode.
Today, joining us on the international stage of our PnP podcast is an empath. This divine human being supports fellow empaths daily through a private group she founded on Facebook called Empaths Connect, Protect, Inspire. There, and through her coaching membership club, she makes a difference in the lives of over 1,000 people as an inner leadership coach. At the young age of 28, she's also a regular media contributor, the co-author of a best-selling book called Monetize Your Message, and is currently in the process of writing her second book. Welcome, our gorgeous friend with a soul of leadership, helping thousands of people across the world, Bronagh Lyons. How are you today?
I am amazing, ladies. How are you both doing?
Hi, Bronagh. It's great to have you here.
Oh, it's so great to see your face on the camera here. I'm sorry the listeners don't get to actually see your face for this, but your voice is going to be pure gold for them all. Just to get started, I have to go back to what I mentioned in the intro. You're an empath, and we have a lot of listeners, and I really want them to understand, what does that actually mean for you?
How I would describe an empath is, there's so many different ways to describe an empath, and there's so many different types of empaths as well. But just to keep it super simple, I would describe an empath as someone who is hypersensitive. Like, you're a kind of person that in different situations, so as I said, there's different types of empaths. So some empaths, you'll notice when you're with people, you can feel their energy, or you just get a sensation in your body around different people. For some people, it might be, for some empaths, it might be around animals. Maybe you just have like a connection to animals. You just understand what an animal wants. Maybe it could be with the environment. You could be hypersensitive to nature. So when you are around trees, maybe you can feel the consciousness of the trees, for example, or the pebbles or the rocks or the soil or whatever it is. It could be areas, it could be buildings. So maybe when you're in a building, you might be able to sense different things about the building and the energy in the building. So how I would describe an empath is just someone who maybe doesn't really understand what's going on, but since they were little and they were small, they just had this heightened awareness about situations or about places or about people, and they never really understood what that was. Maybe that's how I would describe in a very simple term what an empath is. So they just have heightened empathy for people, places, or things around them.
Wow, that's really interesting. So they're hypersensitive to people, place, or things around them, and they can really feel that energy. And what does that mean for someone that's, living day to day? How can that affect them or impact them compared to someone else that's not?
So the thing about being an empath is most people don't know what that is. It's not kind of a word that's used in common language when children are growing up. So, you don't really hear parents or teachers saying, oh yeah, well, Sarah is an empath, so that's why she's behaving that way. So there's so much misunderstanding around a child who's an empath growing up, but also for the child themselves, because you don't realize that what you're feeling, other people don't feel. So most people that are empaths actually, they don't understand how to harness how incredible it is to be an empath. Like, you have these superpowers that no one else has, you know what I mean? So you can feel into situations, you have this heightened awareness of different environments and different places and different conversations. And if you can use that in a really empowered way, you have such a leading edge experience above other people that are not empaths. However, we're not taught how to harness that power within ourselves. So what happens is we go the other way, and it becomes our kryptonite, right? So we become chronic people pleasers. We have incredibly weak boundaries. We are the carers, we are the helpers, we become the doormats. We overgive in certain situations. We feel that because we can sense things in other people, we can sense people's hurt, or we can sense people's nerves, or we can sense an animal is in danger, or there's a certain place that has a certain feeling about it. It's just natural for us, and it's just normal for us to feel that way. So we become overgivers, and that can have a detrimental effect on your emotional health, your physical health, your mental health, and just in general. We just become very energetically drained, because we don't know how to protect our energy and how we feel. We can just become drained very, very quickly, and we do that givingly because it's just normal for us. We can sense when things are going on, so we're natural givers. So if you don't know how to harness the powers that you have, it can become your biggest vulnerability. But what I love doing is helping people to really embrace that and harness that, and to grow that superpower within themselves and embrace it. And there's so many empaths that are so they feel like, oh, I hate being an empath, it's the worst thing in the world, I wish I wasn't an empath. But that's only because they don't know how to protect themselves and how to create healthy boundaries between themselves and others. Where really being an empath is such an amazing strength. And that's what I'm passionate about helping people to understand.
Yeah, and we can really tell by even your expression about that how passionate you are. And I know the great work that you're doing through the Empaths Connect, Protect, Inspire group. And I love people being able to recognize something that they might have thought previously that it was a negative about them actually being a huge superpower or a positive, and being able to harness that energy in the right way that can drive them to a better life or more success. But could you give us one example of how you help people harness that energy and use it for their greatest good and the greatest good of others around them?
Of course, yeah. So a lot of the teachings that I do, or all the teachings that I do, is really on the premise of keeping things as simple as possible. As humans, our brain tends to overcomplicate and convolute different things. So we tend to think too much into everything. So what I like to do is to take big ideas and big theories and big work that's out there and just simplify it down into the most easiest steps. What often happens is when anyone, not just empaths, but anyone, when we're trying to be better, we tend to do this big thing on Monday. Okay, I'm going to lose loads of weight. So on Monday, I'm going to empty out my presses and my fridge. I'm going to throw it all in the bin. I'm going to go down to the shop. I'm going to fill my trolley with loads of food that I don't normally eat, and I'm going to go down to the gym, and I'm going to sign up for 10 sessions per week with this trainer. And just, we tend to just go above and beyond with these big grand gestures about what we're going to do, and then often by Tuesday or Wednesday we're already crashing and burning and we're eating loads of cake. So what I like to do with my clients, or just with the people in the empaths group, and that, as you said, that is a free community, is take really, really, really simple exercises that anyone can do and to start implementing into their life. Because I'm a big believer in the compound effect. It's the little things done consistently over time lead to massive results, right? So if we can just do the small daily things every day, one step at a time, and just focus on right now rather than focusing on the big picture, focusing on, it's great to know what the big picture is, don't get me wrong, we're working towards the big picture. But if we're always just like, okay, well, on Monday I'm going to be this really put together person who has their boundaries in check, and I'm going to have the best daily routine, and I'm going to have everything, I'm going to have the best relationships, and I'm going to do all this sort of stuff, and you've never done it before, it's not a norm for you, then we're just setting ourselves up for a fault. So what I do with my clients, or with the members of the empaths group, is I show them little small, really important and pivotal tools that they can use every single day, and I show them how they can create new habits and how to make things as simple as possible, and to really emphasize the importance of having fun. Like, life should be about fun, it should be about ease, it should be about enjoyment. You know, we're not here to, you know, find things really hard. Like, I find it really difficult to listen to motivational speakers that talk about the hustle and the grind and, you know, no sleeping and you know, work really hard and just sacrifice everything for right now. Like, at the end of the day, we don't know how long we'll be here for. We could all die tomorrow. So why do we want to spend our life working really hard and sacrificing all the amazing things for something that might never happen? That's why my philosophy is all about, what are the small little things that we can do that are super enjoyable, and we can do them right now, and over time they're going to have a huge impact on how we feel and how we show up in the world. And I teach them to people, and I just keep everything super, super simple.
Bronagh, what was a pivotal moment for you where you really felt that you harnessed that and you turned it around for yourself? Because I do know there was points in your life where you experienced burnout and you were so emotionally drained and things like that. So was it a series of things or was it a switch? Can you remember?
I remember, okay, so a few years ago, my husband and I, we moved to China. And prior to moving to China, we were busy. Well, I was really, really busy. Like, I was meeting up with people all the time. I was committing to everything. I thought that I had everything together, but I was really committed to that idea of hustle and grind and team no sleep and, you know, action, 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 and achieve, 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 and results, results, results. And I was super committed to that. And then I went to China, and it was just the two of us, and I didn't know anyone there. I didn't have anyone to meet up with. I didn't have really anything to do other than online stuff. And it was a really great opportunity for me at the time. It was weird at the time for me, but it was a really good opportunity for me to step out of that bubble and to get some perspective and to look at the way that I had been living. And don't get me wrong, I still had a great life when I was busy, but it was just a really interesting, pivotal moment for me to be able to look at my life from some perspective, stepping out of the bubble and looking on it and being like, wow, is that really what's important to me? You know, are these things important to me? And, you know, I think recently we had the whole COVID-19 lockdown, and I think for a lot of people, they had that out of the bubble experience where they're looking at their life and being like, wow, you know, is this really where I want to live? You know, if I had to stay in my living experience, you know, for 6 weeks and couldn't leave my home, am I happy with where I live? Am I happy with the people that are in my life? Am I happy in my relationships? Am I happy in my job? You know, and I think just having that experience to be able to step back and get some perspective on your life is huge. So that was really big for me. And then what happened was, because I had all this space, and maybe some people will relate to this because of the recent experience that they've had, because I had all this space and I started questioning everything, then I started thinking like, okay, well, what do I want to do? And that was huge for me as well, because I started getting really frustrated. I got my recharge, you know, I was rested and I knew that I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what that was. And I found that super frustrating, like really, really frustrating, because I was bringing all the ideas and the tools of my past experience of like having structure and having plans and taking action and doing all this sort of stuff. I was bringing all these tools that had brought me to this point, and I was trying to force them into my future experience. And the thing was, the way I ended up seeing it was like a level. So I was playing a game and I was on a particular level, and I was after reaching the peak of that level, and I was about to level up. I was about to go into the next level, and I was trying to bring the tools that had brought me to the end of this level into the next level. But the next level is completely different. So the structures and the tools and what's needed to be great in the next level are not necessarily what brought me to the peak of this level. And that's where a lot of my frustration came from, because I couldn't get it. I was so committed to being in control of how I was going to do things. So what happened for me then, a pivotal moment, was that I went to a retreat in Bali, actually. And one of the biggest learnings I got from that was that I have to let go. I don't know what the next level is going to look like, you know, and I'm going to be starting at the beginner section of that level. So I just need to let go, and I need to learn the tools that I need for this level as I go through the level. And eventually I'll get to the peak of that level, And, you know, then I'll be going on to a new level, and I'm not going to know what tools I need for the next level either. So I really got that experience of, hey, I have no control over the future or what level I'm going into. I hope you understand that analogy, but, you know, it's like, I have no control over what's going ahead. So to just relax and just allow and just to really focus on today. You know, what can I do today? How can I be feeling today? How can I be showing up today? You know, what's important to me today? What can I be doing right now today? And then tomorrow I'll focus on today again. So that was a huge thing for me, to take me from that hamster wheel of action and activity and push and pressure to realizing, hey, I don't know what's going on in the next level, so I just need to do the best that I can right now and just allow whatever comes up to come up.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful you had that experience and you took yourself on a retreat to Bali to go inside to learn that.
Girl.
And I was thinking about that recently, like, you know, a lot of people, they might not have ever given themselves that chance for the introspection to go inside. Then COVID-19 came along and they just had to learn how to cope with it, like it was sink or swim.
I think though a lot of us expected ourselves to sink, because we had all these expectations of ourselves, such as, oh, I could never work out from home. If I'm going to work out, I need to work out in a gym. Or I could never work from home. Like, there's no way that would ever work. Or I could never homeschool. That's just something that I would never do. Or things that we never even thought about. There's lots of parents that just, it never crossed their mind to even homeschool. Or, you know, whatever, like lots of different things. We just had these beliefs about ourselves, and then all of a sudden we had to be in a certain situation, and it was like, oh my goodness, like this is not for me. Like, I'm not someone who works from home, I'm not someone who homeschools, I'm not someone who works out from home, I'm not someone who does all these things, I'm not someone who stays in at the weekend. I'm a very social person. I like to be out all the time, so, you know, there's no time that I'd ever not be out on a Friday night or whatever. You know, and and that's on an individual level, even on like a government level and an economic level and a community level. Like, there were so many belief systems that were just smashed to pieces, and like people think that, oh no, I would sink in those situations, but actually we're so much more capable than we give ourselves credit for. So everybody ended up swimming. And even if you feel, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, I didn't swim in that situation, like you absolutely did, because you were forced, in a sense, to question so many beliefs about yourself and about the world, and that in itself is a win. So that's swimming. So whatever anybody's experience of this whole lockdown situation, the quarantine situation, I understand there's a lot of people that maybe they got sick, or they know someone that got sick or whatever, but this whole experience has been a growth experience for everybody, and it's all going to show itself in the years to come. We will all look back on this experience, whether you were a baby, or maybe you were a pregnant woman that just had a baby, or you were 90 years old and you're looking back. We're all going to look back at some stage on this experience and being like, wow, that was when ... If it wasn't for that, then ... We will all have that experience. So if there's anyone listening to this and they're like, oh no, I did really bad in that, or comparing myself to other people, I didn't do this, or I didn't do that, or I gained X amount of weight, or I lost my job, or this person, you know, got really sick or whatever. It's horrible maybe in the moment, like it was for me that time in China as well. It was horrible in the moment. When I was that frustrated sense, it was horrible. It was really, really, really horrible situation. But looking back on it, I know that, you know, that led me to here, that led me to here, that led me to here, that led me to here. And I fully believe that everybody coming out of this coronavirus situation and experience is a lot stronger than you were going into it.
And I think it's really key what you mentioned there, that we are much more capable than we think or can imagine. And like what you went through in China, what I'm hearing from you is that what got you from A to B is not necessarily going to get you from B to C. And maybe there's blind spots or growth or surrendering to the moment or just being in the present and letting what's to come, because you are much more capable than you think you are. And look, you're here now and all that you've achieved since China. So you're just Really amazing, and you continue to surprise me with the greatness that you ooze out into the world every single day. Moving on from that, because I know we only have so much time on this, I really want to chat to you about your new book. You already are a best-selling author of Monetize Your Message. Wow. I still have to read that, so that's on my list. But tell me, what's upcoming? What's the new book about? Can you share any information with us? We're so excited to hear what's next for Bronagh Lyons.
Okay, I'm super excited. Okay, so when I was a little girl, I always wanted to be an author. I actually created a book and I printed it off. I made the cover for it and everything. It was called Donna's Big Break, and it was about this girl who went over to New York or something to be this famous singer or whatever. Anyway, it was hilarious. I found it and I read back over it after I became a best-selling author late last year. So funny. So I always wanted to do that, and I remember, this goes back to what we were saying about trying to force things. For years I was like, oh, I need to write a book. What am I going to write a book about? And I was like so forcing everything. Like, it was like, oh, maybe I'll write about this, maybe I'll write about that, and eventually I just let it go, and I was like, look, when the time comes to write a book, it's going to happen. So last year I was invited into a group of 20 entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, to write a chapter in Monetize Your Message, which is an amazing book from, as I said, 20 entrepreneurs that are in completely different walks of life, completely different industries, sharing their stories and sharing their wisdom. It's amazing. It's so good. And while I was doing that, I was like, well, hey, if I'm doing this, I may as well write my own book. Like, you know, I may as well, while we're in the season of writing books. So I started writing my own book last year, and it's called The Game of Confidence, The Beginner's Guide to Believing in Yourself. And it's funny that we were just speaking about levels, because none of this conversation was planned whatsoever, but actually the book is written in levels, not chapters. So there's no chapters in the book, there's levels. So you start off at level 1 and you're working your way to level 10. And as I said, it's the game of confidence. So it's written as if it's a game, and there's certain objectives that you have to reach in level 1 to proceed to level 2, to proceed to level 3. And it's really fun. It's really, really easy to read, really, just so much energy. And we were speaking about energy a bit earlier on for empaths. Energy, it transmutes into different forms. Okay, so when we're speaking here, the energy that we have on this podcast, when someone hears this podcast, they're taking the energy from the podcast. So everything has an energetic frequency, right? So I wanted to make sure that when I was writing this book, that anytime I sat down to write it, I was in a high energetic state only. There was only good vibes allowed in this book. So what I actually did when the whole COVID-19 thing happened, there was a lot of stuff that also happened in our personal life. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to park the book. And I parked the book for 6 months throughout the whole COVID-19 situation. I did not write my book, because something I did not do in lockdown situation. I parked the book, and then I've just started picking it back up again. So I have all the levels written. I'm just going over and doing some proofreading, and I'm super excited. It's super, super, super fun. And it's all the learnings that I've ever learned, that, you know, from my experience, from any events that I've had, any coaches that I've had, and it's all crammed into this game in a really easy to read, really fun setting. It's super, super fun for me to write. I'm so excited to read the book as well when it's finished, because there's so much going into it that is just kind of flowing through me as well. Like, sometimes I sit down, I'm in a high energetic state, but I'm like, right, I don't know what I'm going to write today. And then there's pages and pages and pages written, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know that was going to come into the book, you know. So I'm super excited for the final product, like the final product as well.
Wow. Oh my God, Bronagh, I'm sold on you anyway since day one. And I'm sold on this book by the name of it, because did you know that one of my favorite books recently is called The Game of Life and How to Play It? I didn't know that. It's so attractive. Like, you know, it's a game. So the game of confidence, I love it. I love all the levels and everything. Well, what comes into my mind when you're speaking about levels is one of my favorite games, Super Mario. And I
love me a bit of Mario.
Yeah, it's great. If you have like one kind of thing that you'd like people to take away, one big whopper piece of wisdom to share with where you're at right now, what would that be?
My number one thing that I always tell people is, years ago when I was like 17, 18, I was depressed. I had social anxiety. It wasn't a good time at all. And I was seeking help for that. So I had like a psychotherapist, I had a psychiatrist, I had psychologists, I had all of them. I had a whole team of people helping me. But my psychotherapist was the most helpful. And I was seeing him for about 18 months. And he used to always hold up two hands and he would say, "This is the beautiful Bronagh that I see. And then there's the Bronagh that you see." And he would always show these. And when he would talk about this beautiful Bronagh, it just seemed so abstract. It just seemed so far away, so unbelievable. I just couldn't see that about myself at all. So he would talk about this the whole way through the time that we worked together. And he would always say to me, awareness is key, awareness is key, awareness is key. So that is always the thing that I share with others, is awareness is key. The more that we can understand about ourselves and the more that we can understand about others, the more that we understand about life in general. It's so they all entwine with each other, right? So I always just tell people, like, seek awareness. That's the most important thing. Understand, why do you feel a certain way at certain times? Why do you do certain things at certain times? Why do you believe what you believe? Like, question everything about yourself, question everything about the world, become curious, you know, have fun with it, like have like a great time. Like, it's all a game. Life is just a game. And the sooner you begin to play, the sooner the game begins. Okay. So a lot of us have never even began to play. We started playing the game when we were children, and then we were conditioned out of the game to be on this hamster wheel. So it's time to start playing the game. Become curious, okay? Become aware of, you know, what you think, how you feel, what you believe, what are your values, what are your principles, what do you really want? You know, why do other people react in a certain way? Why do other people believe things that are completely opposite to you? Just become aware and just have fun and play the game. Life is a game.
Wow. That's absolutely mind blown. I'm ready to play the game. I think that was definitely always inside you. I remember you said, like, you used to share great quotes like, "Are you working to live or are you living to work?" Something like that, yeah.
Yes.
And the game was alive. I love it. So thanks so much, Bronagh. I always love being around you, love chatting to you. You've always so much to share, and I love your outlook on life. It's so amazing and inspiring, and you're just great.
I just want to say thank you both so much as well. I know we're wrapping up now, but the two of you individually are just such incredible powerhouses of strength. And I always say Irish people are warriors, right? Just from the depths of who we are, we always have been, we're warriors. But Irish women are one of the most courageous, bravest women in the planet. Women in general are. We're just incredible creatures. Not that men aren't, they are too. But to be an Irish woman brings courage and bravery and strength and just going out there and getting what you want. And in both of you, you're both completely different personalities, but you're so great together as well. And I just think what you're doing with Partners in Positivity is just so beautiful. You know, I just see this going wherever it is that you want to go, and I'm so excited to be on this journey with you and to see how far we've all come in the past 4 or 5 years and how far we're going to go in the future. It's just such an exciting journey, and I just want to thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your journey and for being my friends. I love you guys.
Oh my God, Bronagh, thanks so much. I get so excited when I'm on a call with you, and my soul is completely satisfied listening to all of that value you're after adding again to my life. And I know I did 8 weeks coaching with you back in 2019, and you definitely shook my foundations and paved a really beautiful way forward for me at that time. So I will forever appreciate you. You're a true soul of leadership, and I'm definitely one of your biggest followers. Thank you so much for being on the call for this moment of time. And it's great to share it with you. And I'm going to look out for that book, The Confidence, what is it called? Sorry?
The Game of Confidence, the beginner's guide to believing in yourself.
That's my first time hearing that. The Game of Confidence. It's going to be absolutely epic, and I wish you every success. It's coming for you, and we'll talk to you very soon again.
Thanks, ladies.
Congratulations, well done. Pat yourself on the back. You're officially now a partner in positivity with us. If this is your first episode, we're so grateful. If this is your 40th episode, We're equally as grateful for your ears, for your heart, for taking this time out for yourself and committing to your own positive mental health journey. Our intention for this podcast is for you to feel a little bit better afterwards. So we hope you take some time now to check in with yourself. How did you feel before? How do you feel now? And we've definitely done our job if you feel a little bit better, and especially if you want to come back for more next week. If you do want to support us, we actually have a Ko-fi donation page. It's ko-fi.com/partners in positivity. We really value the work that we're doing. We know there's so much positive and negative in the world, and we want to contribute to people feeling their best. So we appreciate all of the donations we've had so far and welcome any more that are on the way. Thank you in advance. Also, if you got something of value from this and you want to share with friends or family to add to this trend of positivity in the world, we would love to be tagged in any posts on social media. You know where to find us. Other than that, guys, have an incredible week ahead, and we look forward to feeding you some more nourishment for that beautiful mind, that beautiful garden of yours next week.